morning, and thank you for joining us on After GMS. It is Tuesday, October 5th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Megan Malaris. Great to have you back, Megan.
Yeah.
Christian Morgan and our Ed Matthews.
Yeah, nice to have a little bit of a long weekend, but glad to be back with the team and glad that the weather all in all is typical fall, but some rain this week. We do need the rain.
Yeah, we really do, guys. You know, there's some folks who really got drenched the other week when our cold front came through, and there were some folks that stayed completely dry. So now we're kind of getting in on some of that rain. Now, make no mistake about it, it's super muggy outside this morning. So, you know, I like to put it in simple terms for you. Don't even worry about doing your hair. It's going to look like a mess. So don't worry about it. Dew points in the mid-60s this morning. A little more representative of late August and early September across the Piedmont. And warm, too. Temperatures in the upper 60s. If you step outside the door this morning, 65 in Winston-Salem right now, 67 in Greensboro, 67 in Asheboro as well, and 66 in High Point and Burlington. Now, there are some patches of pretty dense fog across the Piedmont this morning. Visibility down to a mile in Winston-Salem, a mile in Mount Airy, a mile and a half up in Reedsville, 3 miles down in Lexington. So keep that in mind for your morning travels. Just take it easy because it'll probably take a little while for that fog to burn off this morning. So keep that in mind. Take it easy if you run through one of those patches on your way to work or school this morning. On the radar, things are pretty quiet right now, but if we zoom out in a wider view, you can see really our big system down to the south and tons of rain, even into the upstate of South Carolina now, moving into the mountains of North Carolina, also down into Georgia and Alabama as well. That's our big system. We got an upper level low pressure system sitting just to our west. Meanwhile, high pressure off the coast. That means our winds are coming in out of the south. So basically, this is just a big deal warmth and humidity and moisture pump for us that doesn't really move a lot for the next few days. And especially when you get some sunshine, all of that moisture in the atmosphere makes it really easy to start popping off showers and maybe even a couple thunderstorms as well. So there will be clouds, there will be sun, there will be rain at times today. Not everywhere all the time for everybody, but you kind of get the story, right? Keep that umbrella within close reach for the next few days. Otherwise, it's warm and muggy with temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees today. Tonight, we'll drop it back under clouds with maybe a stray shower in the overnight hours down to the mid and upper 60s here at home. Kind of the same story, low and mid 60s if you go back to the west and the foothill and mountain communities as well. 7-day forecast doesn't really change a lot throughout the work week. The temperatures do come down a little bit for Thursday and Friday. I honestly think that is because of some additional cloud cover that we'll have. So we'll have some sun today, maybe a little bit tomorrow, but I think Thursday and Friday are mostly cloudy and gray kind of days. We could be left with some rain Saturday morning too, and then finally heading into the end of the weekend, Sunday and Monday, we'll start to dry things out and we'll get our temperatures back into the mid-70s.
All right, well, today, our first talker, millions of people are breathing a sigh of relief after Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are back online, literally up and running again, as you know, if you're on our feed right now. The social media giant's services were down yesterday for about 6 hours, locking out billions of users and reportedly even some of its employees. All
right, that goes with our first question today. How did it feel not being able to use these apps for a few hours? Text your answer to 336-379-5775. But since you're here on our chat, really, all you have to do is drop your comment in the section. You don't even have to do that part,
right?
Which is the best part, right? All right, so we asked you about this on our Facebook pages this morning. Gia said, it was actually very nice. I was free of the Facebook drama. Ramona said she was marked safe after the Facebook outage. And Christy said, to be honest, I can live without it, but I can't live without God. Amen.
Aww. I had some comments on my page as well. Michelle said, after lots of thought and consideration, I think both apps were just shocked that the Carolina Panthers lost to the Dallas Cowboys. True that. Shirley said, I didn't know until I heard it on WFMY after the fact. Scott said, what? There was an outage? Had no idea.
So we did get some responses via text this morning. One viewer said, I already said I wasn't going on Facebook any this week. So they said, I wanted to step back from all the negativity. It was my confirmation and it felt good, this person said. Debbie said, I didn't realize it was out. I was busy doing errands. I saw it on your broadcast. All right, so some people obviously not affected by this outage. Some people seriously affected, especially if their business maybe relies on Facebook for advertising or orders or fulfillment of those orders. whatever it may be. I know Facebook Marketplace is a popular place for some local businesses. I was not affected, but maybe you were.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until I tried to log on just to catch up on the news that I had missed when I was gone for a couple days, a long weekend. And then I noticed that it wasn't working, and it said refresh your feed, and it wasn't allowing me to refresh my feed. So I thought at first, well, has my account been hacked? Do I need to change the password? But how do I do that if I can't get in? Then I thought, well, maybe I'll Google it and see if this is not just an isolated situation. And then, of course, found out about the massive outage that was going on. And it wasn't just me. And I thought, well, great. This is a good excuse just to put the phones down and not even worry about it for a few hours. So I thought it was a nice break. But I heard from another viewer on my page who said it was her birthday yesterday. And she was really disappointed not to be able to see all the birthday messages come in like normal. So obviously some pros and cons. Some more serious than others. Christian, you're an avid and really great Facebook and Instagram user. Were you missing out yesterday?
You know, when I noticed it went down, I thought maybe this will be out for a couple hours, you know, because we've seen this happen before, but then it was out all day, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just not going to be on it today. You know, at one point I got so desperate I started to pull out a Rolodex and thumb through that. But then I decided that might not be it. I didn't go that far. But you know, the break was kind of nice. And I also think it highlighted something that we all know in the back of our minds, is that we've become really, really reliant on social media for kind of this false sense of happiness and fulfillment when we turn to the internet. So it was kind of just a good reminder to jump off of the internet, call somebody, you know, really catch up with somebody the real way, maybe the old-fashioned way, maybe call them, catch up, grab lunch, grab dinner, or something like that. So it just kind of brought that to the forefront, and also how reliant we are on a day-to-day basis for social media, because it's such a big part of our lives now. Not only, you know, personal, but also in business. You know, Ed can attest to this. We use Facebook and Twitter especially a lot, especially to get out weather information.
Yeah, it's really great because, you know, we have that extra source to get our weather information out to our viewers and our users. I was trying to post some updated weather graphics just before the noon show. Of course, everybody is not able to tune into TV to watch WFMY News 2 at noon. And of course, when I went on, it wouldn't let me on. And at the time, I was like, okay, what's wrong here? And after I discovered it wasn't something internally with our internet system here at work, and I did realize that it was Facebook, I got over it. I just posted on Twitter. Now that I look back on it 24 hours later, it should have stayed out longer. You know, there for a split second, Ed couldn't post weather graphics, and my world came tumbling down. And now that I look back on it, why the fuss? So, no big deal. You know, let's live without it for a while. Life would probably be better.
Everyone would be happier and get along better.
One of the commenters said, you know, I wanted to escape from some of the negativity that they see on Facebook all the time. And you can find anything on Facebook. You can find some people who are really motivating and want to lift you up, and you can certainly find people who are doing the opposite. So a lot of people had something to say about this on our feed here. As we asked you to do, Joanne said she loves Facebook because that's how she keeps in track of her family, who are all over the country. And Bobby said he enjoyed the little break off. Jessica Richards had some great advice for small business owners. She said she is a small business owner, and she said if it happened last year, it would have hurt her business. But she says she has her own site now, so no problem here. But if you don't have your own website, this should be your sign. Yeah, very good advice there for people. And Carol Harris said that she barely noticed. So you have a varying degree of, you know, ideas or you know, ways that you were impacted. I was not impacted because I typically put my work Facebook away when I get home because I just don't have time to keep up with it. Maybe if I'm posting a recipe or something like that, I might jump on real quick and take a picture of something I cooked, but very rarely because my hands are full. And I like that. I'd rather spend time in the moment than have to relive it on Facebook later.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it has its pros and cons like anything else. Dwayne said it was about to drive him crazy because he was off work at that time. Rebecca said apparently she wasn't on Facebook that much yesterday because she didn't know it was down. And Joanne added to her post earlier saying, love Facebook, felt almost alone, but always have the Lord.
And then you, I love that. Then you have Carl, who just added, some of us were working. And didn't notice it because
So-
you know their job may be to the point where they're not able to check
Yeah.
you know their text messages or their voicemails or whatever is on their phone during the day.
You
Yeah.
know, and we weren't able to see what everybody had for lunch either. So
Maybe you concentrated on your own lunch. It was actually really good.
There were some really funny memes, though, I saw about what people were doing while the outage was taking place. And, people like exercising, people baking cakes, doing all these things, Ed, that they have time to do because they weren't aimlessly scrolling on Facebook.
Yeah, if I took all the time that I was on social media, and I am on it quite a bit, on my phone or on my PC, if I took all that time and applied it to something else, I'd have a lot of time to be very, very, very creative. But in our business, we use social media a lot. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing, using it, as Christian said, for posting weather information, but also to the rescue to help get pets adopted in our area. So we have some good uses for Facebook.
yeah, the other thing I noticed too was that even though it was down, and I knew it was down, and I knew I wasn't going to see anything if I clicked on it, it's just the habit of when you pick it up, you clicked on it. And I was like, I had to stop myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, really, I'm just so unconsciously just pick it up and click on the app. And of course, when I got back on there last night, when everything started to come back, I was like, oh, what did I? Nothing. I didn't miss anything because there's nobody doing anything today on Facebook.
Exactly.
The only thing that bothered me all day about it was that I knew I had spelled avocado wrong the first time, but I had it spelled right the second time in the same paragraph. And it was bothering me because I was typing really fast, but because it was just me and Ed here yesterday, so I was like, da-da-da-da-da, and I noticed I had a spelling error, but I couldn't change it, and it was driving me crazy. But then at the same time, I realized, well, nobody can see it because, we're off, so no harm, no foul. There you go. It's interesting, though, also to speak that, Facebook and Instagram were down, so then people all of a sudden started flooding Twitter.
It was hilarious. Twitter tweeted out, they're like, hello, literally everybody.
Right, exactly. Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, a lot of people were saying y'all not going to make it over here on Twitter. We don't care if you like us or what. We just say whatever we want to say anyway. Right. So I thought those memes were really funny. You're not going to make it over here on Twitter.
It's just scary, our reliance on these third-party social media sites in general. I mean, and how much people have come to use them over the years for varying purposes. But yeah, just an eye-opening experience, I think, for sure. All right, let's get to our headlines before we get to our second conversation. We'll start with this. A great update here out of the Triad. An Amber Alert is canceled. A baby boy is safe and sound after police say a man stole a car the child was in last night from a Greensboro gas station. WFMY News Suzette Denise McMiller is on top of the story with all of what transpired and how they found the child.
Well, you may have been woken up overnight around 1:30 this morning by the Amber Alert, but thankfully just hours ago, the baby boy was found safe in High Point. But the man that stole the car with the baby inside is still out there. Now on your screen is a photo of the man Greensboro police say stole the car with the baby inside. Law enforcement describe him as a 17 to 20-year-old dark-skinned black man between 5'8" and 6 feet tall. These incidents are becoming all too common. Less than 6 months ago, there was a similar situation involving a 5-month-old baby girl. We want to remind you of Greensboro Police Chief Brian James's message then because it still applies today.
We ask that you please be vigilant about leaving cars running, not just cars with no one in them, but especially with children in the cars. My biggest fear in these cases, of course, when you've got a small child, an infant who is completely helpless, you don't know if that person will harm the child.
Again, police say the man involved in the Great Stop incident is still out there. If you know anything, you are encouraged to give police a call.
So right now, Greensboro police are investigating an overnight shooting on the east side of town. This happened at a barber shop on Phillips Avenue around 11:45 last night. You can see heavy police CSI presence there. Police say EMS took a man to the hospital. We are told his injuries are life-threatening. Investigators have not yet released information about a suspect, but we will keep you updated.
Winston-Salem police are putting their focus back on the community tonight through a National Night Out event. It is scheduled for tonight at the intersection of Eastside Court and Parkside Place Drive starting at 6 this evening. Activities will also be available at 3 other locations around the city. Well, today, Governor Roy Cooper is expected to lead over the Council of State meeting. The meeting starts at 9 this morning in Raleigh. We'll keep you updated on what comes out of it on air and online. So 40 consecutive Powerball drawings, one big winner of this jackpot.
Big.
Did you say it was you,
I
Christian? Wish. Yeah, exactly. Well, we now have a winner in the Powerball jackpot, and according to the California Lottery, the winning ticket was sold in Morro Bay, California at a spot called Albertsons.
Yeah, so Christian, unless you teleported there recently and came back, I don't think you're the winner. But let's all take a little moment to dream a little bit. If you won the lottery, who would be the first person you'd tell your first phone call?
So let's give you some history here while you're typing in your responses. We already got one and I can't wait to read it. It's hilarious. Okay, so this is the biggest lottery prize in months, and it climbed to $699.8 million. At that point, I would just take the 0.8, right? It is the 7th largest in U.S. history and the 5th largest top prize ever for Powerball. The winning numbers for Monday's drawing were 12, 22, 54, 66, 69, and the Powerball of 15, and the Power Play was 2X.
So again, we asked you if you won the lottery, who'd be the first person you tell? This viewer said, I'd tell my husband with a little heart. Another said wife, lawyer, and financial advisor, in that order. Alberto said, I would tell my wife first, then my children.
Yeah, I think that's like the common, response here. And one of our viewers was like, oh, the right response should be my husband, right? And I'm like, yes, it should. But at the same time, you never know, because Janice just said, tell nobody. She would keep it to herself.
Keep it close.
Sandra Cassell said she would tell her daughters. Carol Harris said my fiance. Debbie Isley also said it would be my little secret. Not really if you're in North Carolina, because North Carolina has a law that says you have to be you have to give your name, right? You have to be affiliated somehow with this. So Joanne said, my social worker daughter who lives with me and is my caregiver and does so many things for me daily so lovingly. So who would you tell, Ed Matthews?
Well, I would first of all call a family meeting, and I would tell my family first, and then secondly, I would call my financial advisor and I'd say, help! I got a ton of money.
And he'd say,
we got to do something
let me
with
spend
it.
it.
And you think, well, I'm going to spend some of it, and I would pamper myself and take good care of my family. But then again, you think, what, close to $700 million? Why invest? You've already got a boatload, 5 boatloads of money. So why invest it? And I've always said, these big, prizes are great. I'm not so sure I would be happy. This is hard to believe. I don't know if I'd be happy owning $700 million. I'd probably, what am I going to do with this? I mean, where am I going to put it? Am I going to invest it, put some in this bank and this bank? What am I going to do? Just give me $100 million and I'll be happy. I don't want the whole pie. I just want one slice.
We can split up the other 6 here.
And I'd give it to y'all. I'd give it to y'all and my family. My 2 families, my Channel 2 family and my family in Sanford.
Man, you got big plans and I like them.
Yeah.
All right, how about you, Christian?
I would call an attorney first.
Yeah.
And then, I'd call my family as well and say, okay, here's what we've got. You're going to get some. but hold on. I would, I would obviously would like to have some, keep it back, invest it for future, and for my future family, and and all that. So they would be set up nice, and then also I'd like to pay off our church's debt. Give something towards that to pay that off. Donate to some charities, and really put it into the pockets of people who really need it.
That's awesome.
That's
You've
good.
got some great plans. I
Yeah.
didn't hear News 2 mentioned.
And then I would build a
that.
cabin in the mountains. Okay.
Get a cabin in the mountains, right?
You could buy the mountains. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Buy
the whole mountain range.
Forget about
There you go.
Boone. They just call it Morgan.
You buy a mountain and call it Morgan.
Call it Morgan
This is
Mountain.
Morgan
Mountain. That has a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
I
I like
like
that.
that.
Morgan.
Yeah, I gotta ask though. Being that we're in the public eye, how would you? Now you got to give your name, and I'm not so sure that I like that rule in North Carolina. I mean, I'm open with my life. Everybody knows me like a book. But would you, in time? I guess it would have to come out on the air, right? What would you do?
I've thought about that. I really think there's no price you can put on your privacy, especially when inherently with your job you have so little of it anyway. So I don't know.
That's tough.
It would have to be a really big sum for, I don't know. I would be nervous to give my name. I really would.
Yeah.
But if you won that amount, you wouldn't even be here anymore. There's no way if you won $700 million. If I won $700, I would think twice about coming in the next day.
Okay.
I'm like, I might need to just take a day off.
All right. Well,
But you'd have so much money, you could just hire a security firm.
yeah.
Hire personal security. Hire a driver.
That's true. All right.
But at the same time, I mean, I know what you guys are saying. You want
saying no,
you want to
but-
have your privacy, and I mean that's so important. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get it. But then you think about like 700. Either give your name or walk away from this cash.
Oh, I'd give my name.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Ed Matthews, right here. I
Y'all
want
know me
everybody to know
anyway.
who I am.
Exactly.
I thought it was funny, some people who said, I would tell my spouse and then my kids, well, if your kids are young, I don't know if you'd want to tell them. They're big blabbermouths. Can you imagine them going to school and say, my mommy won the lottery today?
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
With both Simone and Julian, Josiah was telling everybody that I was pregnant every time. Yeah, and I had not even officially told him, so he was obviously overhearing it and still telling everybody. And so, yeah, they do talk a lot, at least mine do.
I'd like to think if I won that I'd still be back here with you guys. Maybe not 5 days a week, but I would be back here some. I just enjoy this, right?
You could buy up all the Tegna stations in the United States. You could be the boss.
And sit on top of your mountain.
That's
and
something
run
to
them.
think about.
So I mean, you're thinking, but not big enough. Like,
So
or
get
just
your
News
request
2.
in now. Turn your request in to me now.
I would like a new position. I don't know
hired.
what. Something that only limits me to 2 hours a week, but still with the same salary. Is that possible?
We'll talk. We'll have a meeting. Let me win first.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see what people are saying here. A lot of people are saying their spouses or let's see. Bobby said, think about how many people would be trying to steal your personal information if they found out you won.
Exactly.
Yeah, so maybe North Carolina might change that at some point, but they don't seem to have had a problem with it yet. Janice said, husband, of course, but wouldn't let a lot of people know because they would be begging for some. There's Megan asking about your kids. And then Carol said, I would not take the lump sum. That's actually probably really smart. But, different financial advisors will tell you different things. Angela said, my husband and my boys. And Debbie Isley said, well, I would tell my husband. I love what Walter Wyatt said. He said, my wife, and to show her thanks for all the birthday wishes. So, and she said thanks because everybody wished her happy birthday. And so he wanted to make sure everybody said, whatever. That's what happens when you go to bed at 10 o'clock last night. But I'm still awake.
You're just hoping to win that lottery. Get that call.
Yeah, seriously.
That never came. Okay, all right, let's wrap up here with the final check of our forecast. Looking nice this week with some rain that we need, so
Yeah,
we'll welcome it.
We could use the rain. It's going to be off and on rain, and it's not going to rain every minute of the day or night, but you got to keep the umbrella close by. Lots of clouds, about a 50% shower chance today, and we'll nudge that up to a 60% chance for Wednesday through Friday. Again, not an all-day rain, but kind of off and on. Upper 70s to near 80 today, mid 70s tomorrow. We'll cool it back into the lower 70s towards the weekend, due primarily to extra clouds, and we'll keep this unsettled weather pattern at least through Friday, and there's a sure bet that there will likely be some leftover showers on Saturday, but it looks as though Sunday and especially Monday will be dry. So keep the umbrella close and you'll be A-OK.
All right, and maybe a personal size fan, because this humidity is not playing
Yeah,
around.
it's muggy out here in the garden for sure. It feels more like a July or August morning here in the Piedmont.
So weird. All the seasons just mished together. So weird. So North Carolina. All right, thank you so much for joining us on After GMS. Certainly had some great conversations and fun with you guys today.
All right, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Get out there and get to it. Make it a great day.
See you later.